We'll have Aaron Torres in a minute, but we did ask you, and if you weren't a part of the early part of the show, we asked you if you want to give us your 1 through 10 Big 12 football preseason standings. Preseason. So 254-339-1122. Not a call, but you can text us your top 10. 1 through 10, 1 dash Garrett Ross, 2 dash Jack McKenzie, whatever team it might be, all the way to 10. Here are, Paul, you guys kind of glanced the other direction for just a second. Here are the teams that were voted in the preseason poll from those who we've, not the whole thing, but those who have already responded. Top 5, Baylor, Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas State. Top 5, Baylor, Texas, K-State, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State. Top 5, Oklahoma, Baylor, Oklahoma State, K-State, Texas Tech. Top 5, K-State, Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, Baylor, and Texas Tech.
K-State first is the one I'm having my hardest time getting my head around. And Texas is an interesting one. I was talking with our friend Andrew Baker before I got to the show. And the way I feel that Texas' season could go if they improve is they could be an 8-4 team that loses games because they can't stop the run late because their defense is pretty much the same guys it was last year, but they're going to have, big, gigantic, swaths of offensive performance because of those skill positions, but maybe get sacked a bunch of times by teams with good offensive line. So their season might be pendulum swinging back and forth all year long. So I really don't know what to think of Texas yet. I'm going to have to see them. It's the same way for everybody. Texas is the hardest one to put my hand on. But K-State at number 1, I'm not ready to go there. But, I mean, the 3 I would put at the top in whatever order you want to put them in are Oklahoma State, Baylor, and Oklahoma because, seem to be the deepest teams so far. But, again, we don't know about Oklahoma. They haven't had a season like this, a change since pre-Bob Stoops. So, I don't know.
Nobody knows. I mean, that's why we're all guessing, and I think that we all have our different ways of trying to break down all the information that we've gotten so far, and to do the best that we can with that to come up with these predictions. I think you can make an argument for why Oklahoma State and Oklahoma and Texas and Baylor all seem like really good choices. I think it's interesting to kind of hear that some of the love for Iowa State has died off. Again, TCU, one of those teams that's kind of flying under the radar a little bit that could potentially be a lot better than expected. And I think you got teams in the middle like West Virginia and Texas Tech that those are the ones that I don't really know about. I feel like I know pretty well about the ones that are expected to be pretty good. Now, in what order, obviously. I know what Oklahoma's got, but I know there's a lot of optimism about them, but, man, that's still a first-year head coach, in Brent Venables. And I understand Jeff Lebby and big offense and la-di-da and all that, but – do y'all realize how freaking good they've been for how long?
Yeah. You don't think?
Do y'all realize how, it's just expected that, they're just going to continue on. I don't know, man. I think that they could win the Big 12. I think that they could win 10 games. I think that they could be really good, but they have been on a freaking dominant run in this conference for going on a decade plus. And at some point, that does end. And I don't know if that ends with Brent Venables or if that just ends in general because other teams catch up to them or what. But, if they're able to just seamlessly go from Bob Stoops' success to Lincoln Riley's success to Brent Venables' success, then Joe Castiglione needs to be the director of everything. That would be phenomenal. I have a hard time believing that it's going to be that seamless of just, here we go in 10 games again, despite all of the changeover and all the transfers and all of that jazz. I'm a little bit hesitant to be all in with them as the favorites, like we typically are every single year. I'm a lot more hesitant. I think Texas could be sneaky good, but, I think the thing that prevents me from just going in with them is, one, their offensive line, certainly, and their defense to a lesser extent. But it's just because I'm so tired of all the fluff every year that it's hard to see through that and determine really what's what. Do people expect them to be good because they should be good, or do people expect them to be good because you're just hoping to be right this time that they are so you can say that they are?
I think you could have said that over the last several years. Now, they
exactly.
had the momentum off the team that played in the Sugar Bowl, but then, again, they
did
blew
what?
a tire.
Yeah, it's hard sometimes to kind of see through the hype with them because they get hyped up this time of year every single year. And it's every single year, and they'll be voted 1 or 2 you watch in the Big 12 media poll without fail. And if they're not, I'd be shocked by that. But, there's a lot of hype with Ewers. So, yeah, I think you can kind of peg sort of who's going to be in that mix, but to what extent, yeah, that is the question mark, because there are a lot of things that have changed over. But it's going to make for a fascinating race, I feel like, because there could be those K-States, Techs, and West Virginias that throw some of those more favored teams for a loop on occasion.
Like Baylor did last year when they were not thought of to be ready, and of course they were amazingly ready. And even Oklahoma didn't play for the Big 12 title. It was just like an inch or two away or a second or two away. If you are, and a lot of people are, and I mean this as sincerely as I can, if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, then I bet there's a really damn good chance that you're also probably, not all of you, but there's a large chunk of you that are Texas fans. Can you imagine the anxiety, the consternation, the frustration, the ups and the downs of the amount of coverage you love, and yet the expectations are more often than not the last 10 to 12 years completely out of whack. And about the time you think you're about to take the next step, you blow a tire. It's in there, some or both fan bases.
Yeah, they're on this weird parallel track with each other lately.